Hi, I'm Shashi and this is Karisu. Try and imagine this. You decided to go on a road trip to your friend's village. On the way to your friend's village in the road trip, suddenly your car broke down. When you got out and looked for help, you noticed that there's a small village nearby by the name of Kuldhara. You go there and you ask them for help and you tell them what's wrong and they go and bring the mechanic and everything. And you notice that it's a very beautiful village. All the people are very friendly. They give you water to drink, offered you food and stuff. So once your car was fixed, you drove all the way to your friend's village and you said, dude, this is a very good place. You know, the village back there, my car broke down, the people were so friendly, they were so helpful. So your friend asks, which village is that? Then you tell him, it's the village of Kuldhara. Then he said, bro, you better Google and check now. And when you check, you notice that this particular village has been abandoned for the past 200 years. Yes, today we're going to be talking about the village called Kuldhara, the ghost village in Rajasthan, which is believed to be abandoned by everyone who lived there 200 years ago. And it is said that a curse has been placed on this place. The scenario I told you earlier wasn't a story, it was an actual experience of few people who actually went by that village, went past the village. So what actually happened here? Why did 1500 people decide to leave the village in one night? What happened to the very self-sufficient, very highly developed for its time village called Kuldhara? Today we're going to be talking about all of those, but before we start, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and like the video and we can get straight to it. If you're wondering if this is a true story or just a myth or some legend, well, the facts are the village was created 700 years ago. The village did get abandoned 200 years ago, and there were 1500 people who actually lived in that village, and all these were documented. So to begin the story, we have to go all the way back to the 13th century when all this started. When this group of people who live in this particular place in Rajasthan felt that they were being oppressed by the king, charging very high tax and very strict rules and everything. So what they decided is this bunch of them gathered and decided that they should actually move out from that place, create their own village, because all of them were builders and people who actually work. So they said that we can actually create our own city, why don't we do that? So this group of them moved out all the way into the desert, very far away, and under no one's supervision, they created their own village. This village is located around 17 kilometers from the Jaisalmer district in Rajasthan. And this isn't just any regular village, it is said that it was a very highly modern village for that time, because the entire village has only 3 main roads and the others are all horizontal connecting roads. And there were a total of 400 houses there. Each household only has 4 people and they had very good water service and plumbing. It's recorded that a total of 1500 people actually lived in that village during the final years before everyone decided to abandon the village. So once they created the village, they were living very luxuriously. They were very modern, very self-sufficient, didn't need to rely on any other external sources or anything. And this was the cause of envy of every other village around them. Their main economy was farming, pottery and trade. All of their houses and temples are all carved out of stone and it's still there right now. And they even have their own graveyard and allocated space just for funerals and all, but only 2 bodies were ever buried there. So everything was going well for 500 years. They were very peaceful, very happy. And then came the 18th century when there were a lot of external influence, external country influences on India. So other kings and other countries came and started looting here. This country was built on the basis that we would help ourselves. So they didn't actually have a plan for any defense or any military body there. So when attacks from external sources came, they were completely defenseless. So when all of this were happening, one of the sort of like prime minister there, the person in charge of that area, was very envious of this village because his own place, the place he controls, are not that rich. So he decided to take possession of this land, claim that land under his name and started charging taxes on these people. And initially it was okay, but as time went on, he kept increasing the tax again and again to the point where the people felt like they were suffocating. And when questioned, he said, well, your village is richer than every other village, so you guys have to pay more tax. As a result of this, the people started suffering even more and more. So one day, the daughter of the village leader there decided to go meet this prime minister guy and actually try and explain to him that the people are suffering, they cannot be paying so much of tax, it's impossible for them to live there. So after a very long discussion, finally he said, okay, never mind, you go back first, we won't attack you or anything. The lady, the daughter, went back home, and the next day he sent a messenger over to the village, and the messenger's message was, okay, we understand that your people are suffering, we won't be charging any tax anymore, but in exchange, I want this particular girl, the village leader's daughter, to be my concubine in my castle. When the people heard this, they were all heartbroken. They were wondering that, do we actually have to sell our self-pride or self-respect just to live in this village? So instead of causing any chaos or problem right there, they told the messenger, said, okay, tomorrow the daughter will come over to the castle, and they sent off the messenger. After they sent off the messenger, the 1,500 people living there took a decision. They said that after this, we will not live in this village any longer. We do not need to sell our self-respect and our self-pride just in order to live. They understood that this problem is never going to go away. Today it's one guy, tomorrow it's going to be another guy who's going to come and keep disturbing their peace like that. And all 1,500 of them decided to leave the village. But the weird part is, no one knows where they went. All 1,500 of them just disappeared. All their possessions, all the jewelries and everything was missing. The whole village, a village which was very lively the day before that, became totally dead the next day. So the next day, this Prime Minister guy was waiting for this girl to come, but no one came. So he sent his messenger to go check what actually happened there. And when he went, he found out that the entire village was empty. It was as if no one lives there at all. Everything was gone. When he came back and he told the king that, the king was very surprised, like, what's going on? So he went and checked it out himself. And yes, as a matter of fact, no one was living there any longer. And then he saw the place, and he, as I mentioned earlier, he did like the place. He claimed the place as his own. Since it was very well constructed and everything was just there already, he decided to take the place as his own place. So he allowed his soldiers and all to use that place as a resting place, to use the houses there, since no one else is using it. And this is when weird stuff started happening. Those who actually just rested there and went off, nothing happened. But those who decided to move in there in their houses started complaining of ghosts and spirits disturbing them, as if the spirits of the people who used to live there didn't want anyone else to claim that that house is theirs. And when these problems started happening very often, very frequent, with all the soldiers who actually stayed there, the king decided to ask everyone to leave and abandon the village. And until now, the village is still abandoned. No one is allowed to live there. It is said that the villagers, when they decided to leave, they placed a curse on this particular village. And they said that if anyone wants to come and visit this place, it's okay. But if anyone decides to take our place as theirs, to claim it as theirs, to say that this is their home, we will never leave them peacefully. The reason being, this was a village created by them with their own blood, sweat and tears. And the people around them did not allow them to live there peacefully. So one of the theory is that the people in this village, the 1,500 of them, decided to leave the village and place the curse. Another theory is that all these 1,500 of them decided to commit suicide on that very particular night and are roaming there as spirits. These are the two theories put forth to explain what's actually going on there. Because even until today, no one actually lives there. No one can live there. Now, if you go to this village, it all looks like an abandoned ghost house. The structures are all still there, but it's completely abandoned. Usually if you see these kind of places, an abandoned building, people will start misusing it for other things like taking drugs or other whatever they do. But this particular place has been left untouched. No one even dares to go and use it for the wrong reason. The question I want to ask you is, do you think this story was purely created, purely imaginary, or people are actually telling the truth? In my opinion, if we just tell someone don't do this, the chances are they're going to do it regardless. But then if you add a story to it, saying that, oh, if you do this, something will happen, the ghost will come and catch you or something, the chances of them complying to not doing that is higher. So maybe that's what happened. So that's it for Kuldhara from Rajasthan. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, please do subscribe now and like the video. And until the next video, bye bye.